What's up, guys? We got another video for you. This time we're doing a Ranger Raptor. What we have here is a 2025 Ford Ranger Raptor. So the Raptor is basically the trim level on top of the stock Raptor. This is the first Raptor platform in the Ranger that we've done. We've done Bronco Raptors, we've done F-150 Raptors. So this will be the first one for us, but we're pretty excited. We've got some cool parts we're gonna throw on it. Tint the windows, take the Raptor stickers off, clean it up a little bit, wheels, tires, lift. Quick, easy, simple build we'll throw together on this one. We're gonna get this thing in and get it tore down. So we got the Ranger up in the air. We're gonna go over the suspension components and just kind of what it's gonna take to get this whole thing done. So we went with the SVC leveling kit, so I'll show you what that looks like. So it's just this spacer. So what we need to do is take this strut out and apart, and this basically will just go underneath this collar here. And so what you're doing is you're compressing the spring more, which gives it more height. So that's where the level comes from. SVC includes also in this kit some upgraded tie rod ends. The Broncos, that type of stuff, the tie rod's kind of a weak point on those, and so those are definitely not gonna bend. So we're gonna replace those as well. So we're gonna work on getting this kind of torn apart, get the strut out so that we can compress that spring and get that spacer in there. One note to add with any Raptor platform that has live valve shocks, so these shocks are all electronically controlled. So one thing you have to do is when you put the spacer in and compress the spring, you have to go in and tell the computer system, you basically have to go in and zero the live valve back out. We have been through this on our Raptor Bronco as well. If you don't do that, they ride very, very stiff because your electronics are telling it that it's under a load when it's not actually, and so it's gonna dampen for that. So you wanna make sure after you get the strut spacers in that you go in and zero everything out so that you get your ride quality back. Got the leveling kit on, so you can see here we've got the spacer like we talked about that just goes underneath the coil spring, and then our tie rod upgrade is on, so it changes it to a Heim joint here. And then you got one thing I forgot to mention is that you do have a sleeve that comes back here to reinforce the threads on the tie rod. So that's another cool thing that SVC thought of on this kit to just kind of give it a little bit more strength. So now that that portion's done, we're gonna get it down on the ground, send it for alignment, wheels and tires, and then we'll check back in with you.
Just was getting ready to take the truck to alignment and noticed something. So jumped back in here and took the tie rods off. Wanna know why? Technically, this is the driver's side, so you can read it. And I had it on the passenger side. What an idiot.
What an idiot.
Anyway, correcting our mistakes first thing in the morning. Absolutely way better. Now you can read it.
So for the forescan stuff, after you've scanned everything in, you come to your table, and you need to find left height, left front height, left right, right front, right rear. Then you hit run. So ours is giving us 46 millimeters, 45. Everything should be 0 before you're sitting in it. So after that, hit stop, go down to your wrench, then scroll down to your VDM ride height calibration. Hit run. Okay. And then just pick how much fuel you got. We got about 3/4. Okay, completed successfully. Go back to your tables, hit run again. Everything should be right around 0, so should be good.
We got the suspension on, got it aligned, got everything done that way. Crew did the forescan for us, got the suspension all zeroed out, so we're all good there. This thing should ride like a Cadillac again. So we're gonna go over the wheel and tire package, but we did have a little bit of a change of plans mid-build, so we actually have 2 sets of wheels and tires that are going on this. The customer wanted one set of wheels put on the stock tires for a winter setup, if you will, and then they wanted a 20-inch setup for kind of more of a baller look, I guess. So we'll show you the 2 different tire and wheel combinations. We've got it a little lopsided right now. The 20-inch setup is a Black Rhino wheel. We did a 20x9 with a 12 offset, and then we did the Falcon Wild Peak RTs in a 295/60/20. So it's not quite a true 35, but it's pretty close. This setup is going to require some modification. We're going to have to pull it back in the shop and do some adjustments on the crash bars, stuff like that, to get that to clear. On the stock setup, we did a Fittipaldi wheel in a 17x9 with a -12 offset on the stock BFG KO3s, and those are more of a 33-inch tire. So those ones clear no problem. That should be a pretty killer winter setup. So now let's get it back in the shop and get to cutting.
A few moments later.
Pretty quick and easy. The Ranger Raptor's done. We're gonna go over it kind of front to back and just kind of show what we did on it. So on the front, we've got SVC off-road starter kit for the Ranger Raptor. So that's just a perch collar and a tie rod end to kind of strengthen that tie rod. And then moving to the wheel and tire package. So he wants the 20-inch stuff on it right now. So we got the bronze 20-inch with the Falcon Wild Peak RTs. Those turned out pretty cool. Tinted the front 2 windows. And then we did remove, he wanted the Raptor sticker taken off the bed just to clean everything up a little bit. So I agree. I think that kind of made it look nice and clean. I'm going to admit I was a hater on the bronze wheels when he picked them out, but they actually, I really don't like bronze wheels personally on anything, but this one I think it actually looks pretty good. So I'm eating my words on this one. As far as tire clearance on this goes, I mean, you can see right there, it's pretty stinking tight. Like I said, this isn't a true 35, but it's actually, if you want to get technical with the numbers, it is closer to a 35 than an actual 35. And what I mean by that is a lot of times when you get a set of tires, if you buy a 35 1250, for example, you're not a true 35. A lot of times tires will meter at like a 34.6, something along those lines. And so this 295/60, I believe, is like a 34.6. So it actually, you know, in theory is closer to a true 35 than probably a 35. It's gonna just be a little bit narrower, so it's kind of gonna fit this build a little bit better. But we did have to do some modification on it to get them to clear. So we had to do front and rear crash bars. You take them out. So basically all that is right in here. You've got these 2 bolts that you take out. The crash bar slides out. You've got one that's very similar to that in the front as well. This fender flare had, I would say, probably about 2 inches right here that came out to just kind of complete that. So we ended up just kind of cutting straight down there to make a little bit of room for it. But I mean, honestly, it's pretty minor modifications, I feel like, to get this size of tire under it. I mean, this thing looks freaking mean. Like, the fender wells just looked filled out. Turned out really good in my opinion. So this kind of build is kind of right up our alley. I mean, most of the time in every aspect, we're kind of less is more type guys. You know, this really was a few little parts in all the right places to just kind of make everything a little, you know, little less stock is really what we're going for. You know, we don't love the super crazy, you know, if that's your style, we can do that, but sometimes less is more, and this is a perfect example of that. So that's all we got on the Ranger. So thanks guys for watching. We appreciate it. This is our next victim. So there'll be a video coming out here soon on this one. We're going to do some cool stuff stuff. This is my personal training, so keep your eye out for that one. We'll see you on the next one.